Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week, I wanted to talk about an alternative way of maybe approaching what post-project depression is. And I wanted to give a little bit of a content warning for this one because we're going to be dealing with death. And I'm basically going to be talking about the loss of our kitty last month. And I think that there are some parallels to that, which sounds kind of wild right now, but I wanted to kind of dive into this a little bit more. So when our kitty passed away, it was very sudden, and it was not expected or planned. And I wrote a lot of really bad poetry and other lyrics and stuff that I won't bore you with. But there was something that I wrote that was really interesting, and I'll paraphrase it, that I don't really want to, and this is talking about Lady, our cat, and I didn't ever really wanted to clone her or bring her back from the dead or anything, because I knew she was going into a better place because she was ailing in health a little bit. But I want to remember them, and I wanted to carry a piece of her with me forever. And the biggest fear I have, I guess, and it's really kind of the thing that I really grieve, is the fact that they're not here anymore, physically. And over time, their memory will be less sharp, and it will not impact me the same way anymore. Lady can't impact me in new ways anymore because she can't offer new experiences for me. It's all in my memories. It's all ingrained within myself, and instead of a physical thing, person, object, whatever, entity outside of me. And I think in a lot of ways, there could be parallels between handling this kind of grief and managing releasing a project. And obviously one could be considered a little bit more impactful than the other, but I think that there's a lot of similarities between the two. Specifically the fact that once the project is released, it's done. It can't impact you anymore. It can't teach you new things. It can't show you new parts about yourself through it. And when I finished The Moon Seems Unaffected, there was a period of time where I thought it was about the pandemic. And then I realized later it was very much about losing my grandparents. And it's the same thing with Let the World Forget Us. I was talking about disconnecting from the world and everything, but while I was finishing that album, it kind of taught me that it was more about kind of the journey within yourself and finding self-actualization and learning how to be okay with who you are. And outside of the internet and that self-validation echo chamber that the social media can tend to be. And I learned these things through the process of making those albums. And once those albums are out, it very rarely affects me in the same way. And they become a memorial to the actual project that you were working on. The album is still something that really is really powerful to me, and it really impacts me, but it doesn't grow and evolve with me anymore because it's static. It's set in stone. So I've just been thinking about this a lot, how these artifacts, these albums, all of this creative stuff that we make could be considered in some way a memorial to the memories and the growth of that project and how it all came together. And in some ways, that would also explain why the 2 Hour Track Challenge albums don't really hit me the same way with post-project depressions, where unlike something like Let the World Forget Us, where I worked on it for 2 years. And as much as I said in the last episode that I did okay at skirting the depression, it's still hitting me pretty hard. And I've been thinking about why. And I think it's mostly because I can't go back and do anything else with it. It's done and it's over, and it's basically, buried. And it's a weird way of thinking that, like, releasing an album is essentially the memorial for it, but that's really kind of what it is. It's a memorial for that project, and that's something to be cherished. But like, it's not the loss that I grieve, it's the fact that it can't affect me. Like, I can't grow with it anymore. It's just there. It is what it is. We've grown apart in some ways. And I think that that's really beautiful, but I don't know, like I'm still trying to parse this, and maybe this is a weird way of approaching this, but like, I wanted to kind of get it out there and hear what other people had to say and thought about this, because I think that it's really interesting, and, you know, hopefully it resonates with somebody out there. But yeah, that's really all I had. I just wanted to put that out in the world and to see what other people thought. But I'm going to go. So thank you so much for listening. I really genuinely do appreciate it. I hope that you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you. I'll talk at you, I guess, since this is a podcast. I'll talk at you in the next one. Be remarkable.